Merry Christmas, infidels! I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that Jeff Dunham's very special Christmas special is No Perfect Movie. And I know a lot of you are thinking, really, you're going to review and be analytical about a Jeff Dunham special? Yes, I am. Because I've had the pleasure of actually seeing Jeff Dunham live on stage. That was probably one of the best birthday presents I've ever gotten. And I knew going into this review, if I was going to talk about it while also mentioning the live stage performance that I've seen, I knew I had to ask myself two questions, which were, what's the difference between the two, and where does the direction, camera work, and editing come into making a special give the illusion that you're actually part of the performance? Now, to answer the first question, the obvious difference between the two is that just the novelty of seeing a professional comedian among a huge audience in this incredibly packed arena is that some of the best punchlines can land even harder when you're among a group of strangers laughing at the exact same time, especially if Dunham's comedic timing is just that good, and most of the time it really is. And I will say this, when you're among a group of strangers and you're laughing alongside them with the darkest subject matter in mind, especially with terrorism or Bill Cosby jokes, at least those were the jokes that I heard when I saw him last year, having a bunch of people around you that you don't know, but you're laughing alongside them at such taboo subjects, it can really take the tension out of those subjects. It can make you feel very comfortable and less ashamed about the fact that you're laughing at something that's not funny at all in real life. And that's exactly what Dunham wants to get out of his audience, because people tend to forget Jeff Dunham's material isn't there to make fun of victims. It's there to make fun of the people who caused this suffering. And it's obviously illustrated through his puppets. You have an old conservative bigot like Walter, and a completely incompetent terrorist like Achmed, and just a flat-out bully like Peanut. And seeing those characters interact off of each other, and part of their material being that none of those characters can get along at all because they're all so different and they refuse to change their ways, it just feels like actual interactions that we get in daily life. And that's just what's so identifiable, hilarious, and extremely well thought out about Jeff Dunham's material. So that's the big difference between seeing him live and seeing him on TV. But the one advantage that seeing him on TV has is that you only have to look at your TV screen when you're watching him perform. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever been to a concert, you know that there are two places to look at the performer. Just seeing them on stage, or seeing them on a Jumbotron where it cuts back and forth from their performance to reaction shots of their audience. And that's where the filmmaking comes into play. If you're not alongside the audience during some of the best material, the special, through the camera work and the editing, really has to give the impression that you're part of the experience, almost like a 4D ride, but in this case, it's by cutting back and forth from the performer's best material to reactions of the audience members, even when they themselves are the joke. So one shot will start off with Walter looking at an audience member going, "I think I remember her ass." And then it'll cut back to that audience member who's being targeted, and they're laughing, and you're just so shocked, but you're also pleasantly surprised because you at least know that they're able to tell the difference between a joke and a true statement. And it gets even funnier when they repeat that, when Walter goes, "Turn around," and she's just like like, seeing her out of breath about that was, it was just shocking. It was insane, but it was absolutely hilarious. But something that the director does that really elevates Dunham's very unique ability to make it really seem as if one or two puppets have really come to life is that some of the other best material is actually just filmed in one shot. So you will get three things that'll happen. A dummy will tell a joke about Dunham. Dunham will just give a silent reaction. And then the puppet will either slowly look at them and go, "Well, you are." And it has that three-act structure that really just goes to show how hard it is to perform a joke and make that joke presentable to an audience that wasn't there when it was being filmed. There's a large amount of effort to making a concert movie or a comedy special that I don't think people really take into account. Now, it goes without saying, Jeff Dunham himself as a performer, even if you don't like his sense of humor, is absolutely impressive, just based on the fact that with every dummy that he performs with, some of these dummies that he actually constructed himself, it's insane how he gives them their own personality, not just through their sense of humor, but through their expressions, the way they slowly raise an eyebrow or slowly turn their head. He gives each character their own sense of facial expressions or body language, which is weird because they're puppets that are just sitting or standing still the entire time. And it may sound simple on paper, but there's, again, a lot of effort that goes into it, and Dunham has clearly worked his ass off to perfect that art. But in regards to judging it as a special, I keep saying some of the best because there really are different varieties of what the best material is in this special. There's the ones where a puppet is just roasting an audience member and they're laughing so hard because they want to be immersed in the experience. There's the bits that on a technical achievement are really funny just because you're filming two characters in one shot and one shot only, but it's still hilarious. It never overstays its welcome. And then there's the third category where there are Christmas Carol musical numbers, and this one musician, Brian Haynen, or guitar guy, is not only performing alongside the puppets, but is being roasted alongside with them. And that was absolutely hilarious. You knew going in that he knows for a fact what insults are going to be hurled at him because his silent reactions to every time they accuse him of being a junkie or a homeless creep, and he's just like, you know he's in on the joke. But there are other moments where Dunham clearly improvised something or just didn't tell him what he was going to say beforehand that you know for a fact is completely off the cuff, because not only is guitar guy laughing his ass off, trying so hard to keep a straight face but failing, but Dunham is failing to keep a straight face too and is laughing alongside him, even though at the exact same time, even though he's in uncontrollable laughter, the puppet's still in character going, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? And my head was hurting from how hard I laughed. I was burying my face in my lap. I just could not believe what was going on. It was just insane. The one downside, like most comedy specials, is that some bits are funnier than others, and when it's not funny, it feels as if it goes on for longer periods of time than the other great bits. I was really disappointed to find out that my least favorite character in this special was actually Walter, because I love Walter. I love how bluntly honest he is, but he wasn't awful, but I wasn't really laughing that hard at him. I was just going and smiling so wide, which was enough for me, but I wanted to laugh harder. And even though characters like Achmed and Bubba J, who I fucking hate Bubba J. Usually he's the longest character, and I don't understand why. Even though those guys were on for longer periods of time and there were longer periods of jokes not really landing, when their jokes landed, they were absolutely hilarious, mainly because they had to interact off of Guitar Guy the most. So maybe it was that, but as long as some awkward periods of time were, when a joke lands, it is absolutely hilarious, and that's really all I got to say about Jeff Dunham's very special Christmas special. It's an ideal example of how comedy specials, even though some of them are just standard coverage of comics and standard coverage of audience members, there's still a lot of craft and effort that goes into making them. And for all those reasons, I'm going to give Jeff Dunham's very special Christmas special a 4 out of 5. Definitely check it out on Netflix. It's one of Netflix's best Christmas specials they have, if I'm being honest. Guys, thanks as always for watching. If you have seen the special, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Be sure to let me know who your favorite Jeff Dunham character is or what your favorite Jeff Dunham special is altogether. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Be sure to stay tuned for more reviews, and be sure to like and subscribe. Take care.